North Korea fired on anti-regime balloons on the DMZ over the weekend. The South returned fire, but upcoming high-level talks between the two Koreas will proceed. Ruling and opposition parties are at odds over the Seoul ferry disaster and the government's economic policies as the parliamentary audit enters its second week. And 3 Chinese fishermen were arrested for assaulting Korean Coast Guard officers, cracking down on illegal fishing boats. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Monday, October 13th. I'm Luke Claring. North Korea vows it will take stronger measures if South Korean civic groups continue to send balloons over the border carrying anti-regime leaflets. Despite a short volley of gunfire on the DMZ last Friday over the balloons, Pyongyang says that the second high-ranking officials meeting between the two Koreas is still on.
North Korea mentioned last Friday the exchange of gunfire that had ensued after the launch of balloons filled with anti-regime leaflets. This is the first time for an official channel to comment on the shootout. The official medium said that the clash proved that Pyongyang's warnings were not empty threats and the North would take even stronger countermeasures if the leaflet scattering continues.
그를 막기 위한 우리 군대와 인민의 대응은 보다 강도 높은 선멸적인 물리적 타격으로 이어질 것이다.
North Korea's official news channel, Korean Central TV, referred to the high-level officials' meeting that was held in Incheon for the first time in 8 days and indirectly stated that the agreement reached at the meeting was still effective.
북남 관계 개선에 좋은 분위기를 마련하는 중요한 계기였다. 이에 따라 제2차 북남 고위급 접촉도 일정에 올라 있다.
North Korea stressed that the friendly atmosphere between the two Koreas must continue, indirectly pressuring the South Korean government to take action to stop the spread of anti-North leaflets. Previously, North Korea's state newspaper Rodong Shinmun reported that the second high officials meeting could be cancelled and added that future inter-Korean relations depend solely on South Korea's attitude.
Parliamentary inspections enter their second week now. This time around, the ruling and opposition parties are at odds over the Seoul ferry disaster and the government's economic policies.
The ruling and opposition parties alike believe that the ongoing parliamentary inspection will gain pace this week. The Saenuri Party announced that it will propose its own policy alternatives as the ruling party and focus on improving the economy and people's standards of living.
정부 정책의 잘못된 부분은 가감없이 지적하며 생산적인 대안을 내놓기 위해서 최선을 다할 것입니다.
The main opposition party, currently under new leadership, says it will place priority on people's lives and safety. The party plans to hold the government responsible for the Seoul ferry disaster, corruption at nuclear reactors, and inter-Korean relations.
2주차 국감은 박근혜 정권의 적폐에 대한 전면전이 될 것입니다. 새정치민주연합은 130여 명 의원이 전원이 혼연일체가 돼서
The party squared off today during the Justice Minister's audit over the results of the probe into those responsible for the Seoul ferry accident. In the audit conducted on the National Police Agency, the parties are expected to clash over the assault on a designated driver by certain members of the Seoul ferry disaster victims' families. The incident allegedly involved New Politics Alliance for Democracy representative Kim Hyun. In an audit of the Ministry of Health and Welfare, the parties will likely collide over the issue of tax raises, such as the cigarette tax. Meanwhile, both the ruling and opposition parties agreed that last week's parliamentary inspection produced no tangible results, only magnifying controversy over issues such as the selection of witnesses.
3 Chinese fishermen were arrested for assaulting Korean Coast Guard officers who were cracking down on fishing boats operating illegally on South Korean territorial waters.
3 Chinese fishermen were arrested for assaulting Korean Coast Guard officers during an attempt to take back their boat, which was seized for illegal fishing. The Mokpo branch of the Gwangju District Court issued arrest warrants for the 3 Chinese sailors, citing that they could destroy evidence or flee. They were charged with obstruction of performance of official duties, resulting in death and bodily harm. In footage taken by the Korea Coast Guard, they're seen violently assaulting the Korean officers, ripping off an officer's helmet and kicking him. The Chinese nationals also threatened the Korean Coast Guards by choking an officer and trying to push the Korean officers off the ship. The Coast Guard testified that it was a life-threatening situation, which left 8 Korean officers injured.
다른 중국선은 칼을 들고 윤석열 쪽으로 접근한 등 지속적인 위협을 가했습니다.
Korean authorities are investigating whether the remaining 16 sailors were also involved in the attack. Meanwhile, concerns are mounting over illegal fishing by Chinese fishing boats as the ban on fishing trawlers ends on October 15th.
Employees of the Korea Exchange, whose median salary exceeds $100,000, topping the ranks of average annual salary in public agencies, have been found to have used corporate funds on overseas trips under the pretext of business, using public vehicles for private use on holidays and weekends. Here's more on the moral hazards of public corporations.
In June of 2013, 2 employees of the Korea Exchange attended an academic conference in Miami, USA. In their report afterwards, they wrote that they attended the conference throughout their entire 7-day stay in Miami. But in fact, their schedule was filled with sightseeing, including visiting a national park, watching an alligator show, and taking a cruise. Their travel costs, amounting to approximately $13,000 were paid by their company. Another employee of the Korea Exchange visited Eastern Europe for 9 days, ostensibly to conduct a field survey that had nothing to do with his work duties. The trip cost around $3,800. More than 20 business trips are made by Korea Exchange employees each year for ambiguous purposes.
재조사해서 조치를 취하거나 또는 재발 방지를 강구하도록 하겠습니다.
The use of public vehicles for employees' private purposes is also a problem. Last year, cars owned by the Seoul office of the Korea Exchange were used on weekends and holidays 64 times. They were also used during long holidays such as the Lunar New Year and Chuseok. But there are no records on who used the cars and for what purposes.
방만한 경영의 근본 원인은 독점적 지위에서 나오는 겁니다. 대체 거래소라는 경쟁적 요소를 도입해보는 대안을 한번 검토해볼 필요가 있습니다.
Despite such rampant irregularities, the Ministry of Strategy and Finance eliminated the Korea Exchange from its list of corporations subject to special monitoring in July this year because it believed the Korea Exchange's sloppy management had been rectified.
Businesses that refer pregnant Korean women to overseas obstetricians so that they can have babies abroad are thriving once again. The agencies even offer testing to help mothers birth sons over daughters, which is illegal under Korean law.
This Mom and Baby Expo draws tens of thousands of visitors each day. Agencies that refer clients to overseas obstetricians claim that their clients can pick their baby's gender. The so-called pre-implantation genetic diagnosis, or PGD method, allows a person to choose the sex of fertilized eggs and have them implanted in a mother's womb. But in Korea, it is illegal to use genetic testing to find out a baby's gender. Genetic diagnoses are only used to identify some 150 genetic diseases. Another agency operating in secret even has a list of itemized costs. The owner of this referral service says prospective mothers are admitted overseas on student visas and also claims that it's a great deal. The government says although such referral services are illegal, its hands are tied since childbirth is taking place overseas. Such realistic limitations add urgency to coming up with regulations that legally bind these referral agencies.
국내에 현재 법이 없다는 것 때문에 해외로까지 가는 일이 있기 때문에 국내 관련 법을 규제를 만들어야 된다고 생각합니다.
Having babies abroad had gone underground after being criticized heavily, but it's thriving again as Korea permitted dual citizenship in 2011.
The Seoul city government has decided to invest over $35 million in the construction of a park on the Seoul Station overpass instead of demolishing it. While some welcomed the move, others blasted the Seoul government for its failure to collect public opinions on the project.
The 1-kilometer-long Seoul Station overpass is bustling with pedestrians instead of cars for the first time in 44 years.
평소에 찾아다니던 곳인데 이제 그렇게 길지도 않고 그냥 잠깐 동안 그냥 여유를 느끼면서 걸을 수 있어서 참 좋았던 것 같습니다.
The Seoul city government decided to rebuild the overpass into a green park with trees and flowers, much like the Highline Park in New York.
지금 세계 모든 도시들의 경향이 자동차보다는 사람이 주로 다니는 이런 보행길로 바뀌고 있다는 점을 특별히 말씀드리고 싶어요.
The government will invest over $35 million in the preservation of the old overpass and the creation of a hanging park. While some have welcomed the project, others have raised their voices to criticize it. Merchants at the Namdaemun market say their businesses may suffer a blow if the overpass is closed without constructing an alternative road in the neighborhood to keep the amount of traffic similar to its current level. Some members of the Seoul Metropolitan Council blasted the Seoul city government for its failure to conduct a public poll before making the decision.
시민들의 어떤 참여나 타당성 조사, 교통 영향 평가도 하지 않고 성급하게 결정한 것은 큰 문제라고 생각됩니다.
The Seoul city government plans to launch the park's construction next year and complete it by the end of 2016. However, it will likely face strong opposition from some of Seoul's residents.
More and more Honnold-style buildings are being found in downtown areas in Seoul, and with some modern variations, Honnold buildings are quickly gaining popularity.
This Honnold in Gwaedong, Seoul was built a year ago. The two-story building measures 80 square meters and houses a gallery in the basement and cafe on the first and second floors. With black roof tiles, gracefully shaped eaves, and well-positioned trees in the garden, the new Honnold is as beautiful as a traditional one.
Coming down then, we said we would like to have a coffee in one of these nicely renovated houses, and we enjoyed very much sitting here.
But inside the building, many modern construction technologies and design ideas were used. Columns were connected with metal materials, while the side of the stairway was decorated with steel plates. The building was chosen as Honnold of the Year for its beautiful and modern variations and effective use of its small space.
생활에 불편함이 없는 현대적인 감성을 집어넣어서 이렇게 하는 것들이 더 조화롭다고 저는 주장하고 있습니다.
This Honnold building is a Catholic church in Gwaedong, Seoul. The construction of the church was completed late last year. Visitors can overlook the front yard on the stairs, which leads to the modern main building of the church. The church was also awarded Honnold of the Year for retaining its traditional beauty and stressing its purpose as a public facility.
현대 한옥을 정착시키는 하나의 계기랄까요? 발판을 마련하는 데 있어서 큰 의의가 있다고 생각됩니다.
Modern touches have been applied to the style of the traditional Korean housing, allowing them to be used for practical purposes.
On Sunday, a typhoon affected the southern part of the nation, bringing strong winds. But in the central region, the weather was perfect for spending the day outdoors. Here are some views from such autumn outings.
Silver grass covering a mountain ridge shimmers under the sunlight. Hikers are captivated by the seasonal beauty as they climb up and down the mountain. In the shade beneath the trees, people savor the company of their loved ones. Hikers who have made it to the summit are rewarded with a breathtaking vista of the red and yellow autumn leaves. Beginning in Mount Seorak in Gangwon province, the colorful fall foliage has already reached the capital region. A fisheries market is packed with people who have come to enjoy the seasonal delicacies. Children have fun catching fish from an artificial pool. Visitors come as families and lovers to build unforgettable memories in a field of reeds. In an amusement park, colorful flowers and exciting performances create a festive atmosphere. With the weather unaffected by typhoon damage in the central regions of Korea, popular tourist attractions were crowded with people enjoying the autumn season.
Health-conscious consumers can take care of their health not only by eating healthily, but also using healthy fabrics, from environmentally friendly fabrics to pest-repelling ones. Take a look.
An exhibition of products designed for babies and infants opened in Seoul on September 28th. One of the companies participating in the fair drew a particularly large number of visitors. It's hard to believe that this soft mat for babies was made with bamboo. This company even makes baby clothes with bamboo.
이게 아토피도 진짜 많은데 대나무로 만들었다고 하니까 더 은근히 가네요.
Bamboo has emerged as a popular material for baby products thanks to its properties.
열이 많은 아이들이 대나무로 만든 침구류나 의류를 착용하게 되면 열을 조절하는 데 많은 도움이 될 걸로 생각됩니다.
We visited one textile factory in Daegu to find out how bamboo fabric is made. This soft yarn looks quite ordinary at a glance, but in fact it was made with hard bamboo. Bamboo yarn is produced after a long and complicated scouring process, which includes water splitting. Then the yarn is woven into a fabric which is later used to make all kinds of products. Bamboo fabric promotes ventilation and is cool to the touch.
면보다 흡수력이 더 좋고 또 터치감이 더 부들부들하고 그렇기 때문에 민감하고 연약한 피부에 좋은 원단이라고 생각합니다.
Interest in the quality of fabrics has been on the rise recently. This company also produces diverse products made with unique materials.
곳곳에서 추출되는 천연 성분을 섬유 제품과 강력하게 결합시켜서 기존 해충들이 저희 제품에 노출될 경우에 기능이 현저히 저하되거나 죽음에 이르도록 할 수 있는 제품입니다.
Unlike regular textiles, this one keeps harmful insects away. You may be wondering if this fabric poses any health risks.
단순 약품 처리를 하는 것이 아니고 후가공 과정을 통해서 섬유에 강력하게 결합시키는 제품으로서 인체에 전혀 해를 미치지 않는 제품입니다.
This fabric is used widely in products for outdoor use and in apparel. It may be used for many other purposes in the future. Next year, the global innovative textile market is predicted to surpass $585 billion. Healthy fabrics that protect consumers' health and make their lives easier will continue to gain in popularity in the future.
And now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.